Hello, it's Anne Marie with AM Astro. Today I am going to do the uh, John Frawley system for the Super Bowl. So let's take a look at the chart. I have it set for 5:34 p.m. for Sunday, February 9th, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I have 5:34 p.m. because it never starts at 5:30. And so I Googled what time is the actual kickoff. And there was a gentleman that let me see if I still have that. Yeah. So he teaches a course on Super Bowl something. Let me see. Okay. Now teaches a Super Bowl course at Syracuse University. Said that it's because the NFL, blah, 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 blah. So he says 5:34. I mean, 6:34 Eastern, but 5:34 local in New Orleans, Louisiana. So that is why I have 5:34 p.m. It's Leo rising, which, okay, and also, sorry, the Chiefs are favored by 1.5 points, not much. So that puts the Chiefs on the first house cusp and ruled by the sun. And then the Eagles will be over here, ruled by Saturn. So the first step is to look at the placement of the rulers of the first and seventh houses and the 10th and the fourth, the 10th being for the favorite and the fourth being for the underdog. So the sun, this is like key point right here, like almost right off the bat. The fact that it is sitting just inside the seventh house. I think I interpreted this on previous readings as because it's so close, it's like on the cusp. But no, it's not on the cusp because it's inside the house. It would have to be approaching the cusp to count as being on the cusp. But once it's past, it's a past aspect. And so it's inside the seventh house. So that means the Chiefs are controlled by the Eagles. Very strong testimony for the Eagles. Then we look at the antition of the sun, and it is, we need to look at the chart for, okay, so the antition of the sun is 8 degrees Scorpio, and so that is in the third house. And then we look at Venus because Venus rules the 10th house. And so Venus is in the 8th house, which means nothing. And the antition for Venus is 26 Virgo. So it's in the second house. And you can see it would be close to the south node, which we'll talk about that in a minute. Now we'll look at Saturn as the ruler of the underdogs or the Eagles, and that is in the 8th house. So no significance there. And the antition is in 11 degrees Libra, which would be in the third house. And then Mars is the ruler of the fourth house, and it is in the 11th house. And the antition of Mars is placed at 11 Gemini, so right here in the 10th house. But because it's so far away from the cusp, we don't pay attention to it. Then we look at the moon, and it is on the 12th cusp. And the antition for the moon is 9 Gemini, so it is in the 10th, but still away from the cusp, so no significance there. And then we look at the part of fortune's antition. We do not look at the bodily part of fortune, but it's antition. And so the part of fortune's antition is 10 almost 11 degrees Sagittarius, which is in the fourth house, which would be significant if it were closer to the cusp. But because it's not, then we don't pay any attention to it. These parameters are all very tight cusps. Okay, so that's all the placements that we look at. August, please don't. I have work going on my bathroom remodel still, and Augie's a little bit excited. Okay, so aspects. I would look at the moon's aspects. I'm going to put the chart up here, and you can see that the moon is past an aspect to Saturn. So because it's in the past, we don't pay any attention to it. And then these quincunxes, we don't pay any attention to. This opposition to the part of fortune, I don't understand how they can say that, because it says it's applying, but it's not, because Frawley says that you leave the part of fortune alone and things move toward it. You do not nothing. So let me find where it says, where he says it so I can read it. Keep the part of fortune still, of course. She doesn't move. Things come to aspect her. So so you can see that the moon has separated from it, and Mars is going the other way. Mars is retrograde. So neither one neither one count. So then other aspects we look at for so Lord 10, Venus is antition, which we said was 26 Virgo, is conjunct the south node within 3 degrees. Anything's with it's not a strong testimony, but it would be it would favor the Eagles. It would be bad for the Chiefs because it's the 10th house cusp, so therefore favoring Eagles. The moon is 9 Gemini, and the antition for the part of fortune is 10 Sagittarius. So the antition for the moon, applying by opposition to the antition of part of fortune, favors the Eagles, favors the underdog, so the Eagles. So that's another check mark in the collection of testimonies for the Eagles to win. So simple, Simon, easy peasy. I actually would prefer the Chiefs win. I'm going to be cheering for the Chiefs, but it looks like the Eagles are going to win based on this system. I have a very bad record on doing these things. So I just think I don't know yet which things are the most important. And also I'm learning as I'm going. Like I said, I thought that if something were within 5 degrees of the cusp, it was on the cusp, but because it was inside rather than approaching, then that is the opposite. So anywho, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.